Hello, my name is Envy, and today I'm going to be reviewing the game Rimworld. However, I'm going to do so in a different way than normal. Rather than actually tell you about the game, I'm just going to tell you a story that happened in my playtime. This is the story of Duck 1. It began on an ordinary game. I had a successful colony of about a half-dozen people, and it was doing well. Our chief export was smoke leaf, which is basically weed, but needless to say, we were happy. One day, out of the blue, a group of about 12 ducks wandered into our colony. They were domesticated already and became automatically tamed. Being an animal lover, I embraced the ducks. Surely I could find some use for them. However, it turns out they were more of a burden than I could manage. They frequently stormed my fields and ate all of my corn. I was forced to resort to the final option. I decided to cull them. However, I couldn't bring myself to kill all of them. I decided to leave one of them alive, as a pet of sorts. I chose the first duck, automatically named by the game Duck 1. Duck 1 was just your average mallard, but it turns out he had the potential for more. He survived in the colony for several years, reaching the age of 8 years old. During a fox attack, he lost an eye, and eventually, he got so old that he got dementia. I didn't know it was possible for a duck to get dementia, but when I clicked on him and it went to the health tab, there it was. I also noticed something else in the health tab, an option to perform operations. See, Rimworld has an advanced health system, allowing for countless ailments in all parts of the body. Normally, the Operations tab allowed you to do things like harvest organs or install bionic limbs in your colonists. For ducks, however, your options were much more limited. But there was one operation that stood out to me: administer smoke leaf joint. At first, I was confused. You mean to tell me that I can have my colonists hold down this duck, this senile duck, and force it to straight up smoke a joint? It turns out, yes, that is exactly what you could do. I decided to perform the operation out of curiosity. My colonist brought him to an animal sleeping spot and administered the joint. I was astounded. I had created probably the first duck ever to be high on smoke leaf. But I didn't stop there. My curiosity compelled me. I administered another joint, and another. I gave that duck so many joints that it became dependent on them, and eventually it had an overdose. I was in shock. Duck 1, possibly the coolest duck to ever live, had died, and it was my fault. In March of 2008, I watched my grandfather pass from this world to the next, and I was still not as sad as when I lost Duck 1 to my own hubris. But the story doesn't end there. For some reason, perhaps to remember the events, I decided to preserve Duck 1's body by freezing it in our freezer. There it stayed for several years, a frozen monument to a life well lived. One day, I received a quest from a nearby faction. They wanted me to do some bullshit, and in return, they would give me a Resurrector Mech Serum. This was an item that used a dose of nanomachines to repair lost organs and kickstart the body back to life. We can rebuild him. I hastily completed the quest and obtained the serum. A sane man would have saved it for use on one of their precious colonists, but I could no longer call myself sane. I used the serum and brought Duck 1 back to life. It also restored his missing eye, but did not cure his dementia. Duck 1 then lived a long and fulfilling life, smoking joints at a much more reasonable rate. Thus ends the tale of Duck 1. If this has convinced you to try the game, you can get Rimworld on Steam and other places. It rarely goes on sale, and when it does, it's not by much, but I can recommend playing full price anyway. It's definitely worth it. That is all for this video. Do you also hold strong opinions on very niche subjects? Leave them in the comments below, and also tell me what I should review next. Subscribe if you want more, and I will see you next time.